Good evening, and welcome to the 15th edition of LIVRESQ Empower Your Teaching, of the LIVRESQ Empower Your Teaching webinar. I'm really happy to be here today, and welcome whether you're joining us on Facebook or on Zoom. Or if you're watching this later on Facebook or on YouTube, I'm really glad you're here. I'm very happy that you're interested in LIVRESQ and in using LIVRESQ and in using it to enhance digital learning and to enhance digital teaching. So it's really great to be here. If you have any questions during the webinar or afterwards, if you're watching the recording and have any questions, please don't hesitate to write them in the comments, or if you're here on Zoom, you can turn on your microphone, turn on your camera. I'm happy to hear from you. Or if at any point you have any comments, don't hesitate to tell me. So I'm watching all of the chats and everything, so I will be able to answer in real time. So today I'm actually going to talk about a topic that is very dear to me because we haven't really spoken about the LIVRESQ Library in this webinar series. And it's a really cool place because it's a place where we offer free hosting to the lessons that teachers create in LIVRESQ. And the great thing about that is that it's also the place where you can find the work of fellow teachers. And it's really inspiring work, and there are wonderful lessons that you can already use in the library. So what we'll be going through slowly is what to do at the end after you finish editing a project, after you finish your lesson, how to share it, and in what ways you can basically use it with your students. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and share the tool. Just a second. Okay. So right now you are seeing this is the entry, sort of the homepage of LIVRESQ. This is what happens when you open the author. But our tool actually has two components, both the author and the library. And today we're going to be delving into both, but we're going to be doing that by exporting, by publishing our project in the library. So we've gone through quite a bit of how you can start a project, how you can edit a project. The easiest way currently available on the platform is with the use of artificial intelligence. And in order to do that, you just need to click on Create a New Project in the home page and select AI. And here you can write a title for your project, you can write a subject, you can write the age of your students, you can even set a duration, and duration can be anything. And basically what the platform does is provide you with with content that's appropriate for that duration. You can also select a subject, a tone. The subject is usually the school object, but the reason why we've called it subject is because this tool allows you to generate lessons in any topic. Then the language, you can select the language of the content, some keywords, and you can also ask the platform to suggest media content. Now, the title, for instance, I'm just going to give you an example. I've already generated this lesson and we're going to look at it together. We're going to see step by step, but then we won't get too much into editing this lesson. We'll just sort of see how we create a project, and then finally what we do at the end of this creation project. So let's say the title of our project, and if you watched our videos previously, you can see that we've done this before. Let's say we want to write a lesson about the solar system. We want it to last for 20 minutes. I'll keep the duration that's already provided by the platform. The subject is geography. My students are around 12 years old. The tone should be friendly or happy. Here is where you have the opportunity to select, for instance, a more professional tone. The project language can be English or any other language you wish for. As keywords, we can select this is where we can guide the platform to provide certain types of content for us. So for instance, in the solar system, I wanted to talk obviously about the sun, the planets, But if you want more specific, a more specific structure, or if you want your lesson to be about specific topics, this is where you can add that information. Now also check this box so that the platform will suggest multimedia content for me. And then I can generate the chapters. And what it first does is it generate a structure for us. And here we can edit whether we want those chapters featured in our final lesson or not. And then we can sort of tweak that around. It will also tell us how long each chapter will last. And then finally, we'll be able to generate the entire lesson. And I'll show you very, very quickly what that looks like as well. And then we'll go into the export and everything else. So this is the chapters that it has suggested for me. First of all, an introduction. What is the solar system? This number here is the duration of each chapter and subchapter that it has suggested. The importance, the sun, what is the sun, the role of the sun in the solar system. And then if I'm not satisfied with this, I can go back and generate content. If I am satisfied with the structure, I can go ahead and generate my lesson. And if I click generate my lesson, it takes around a minute. And then I automatically have, I'm going to quit this because I already have the lesson generated. Just a second. If you go under your resources, if you go under resources here, this is where everything is saved. So LIVRESQ saves your project automatically. You don't need to worry about saving because we're working inside a browser. And this is the place where you can find all of your projects. And basically, if you want to access the project that I previously created, I'll just double click the project entitled Solar System. Now, LIVRESQ, if you haven't seen this tool before ever, I'm just going to briefly go through the structure. You saw me opening a project with a double click. In LIVRESQ, in order to select something, we use single click. In order to open something, we use, or to edit something, we use double click. And I've opened the project, the solar system, and a project is usually divided into one or more sections or pages, if you will, subchapters, may even, or chapters. This is my main section, the main section of my project. I've just generated a project using AI. And what it did was also create a basic section inside its structure. And in order to access this section, I will double click. And the section is actually where all of my content is. My text, my images, we call them resources. All the other interactive content that I want to add is inside my section, inside my page. So we have projects, sections, and then the content or the resources are located here. Just a second. So, this is what the platform has provided for me. It only offered suggestions for multimedia content. This is a work in progress on our part, and in the future, you'll be able to create lessons that will have multimedia content that's already generated. But basically what you have is like a skeleton, actually a little bit more than a skeleton, like a template on the subject that you wish with some information, because these are the chapters that we've previously approved, and some little bits of text that are generated using artificial intelligence, and more precisely ChatGPT-4. So if you have a premium account, because this is a premium feature, being able to use all of the AI features only work on premium accounts in LIVRESQ. If you have a premium account, you can use ChatGPT-4 integrated in LIVRESQ. And basically, what the platform has provided for me is a project that I can edit. And if you want to edit any bit of content on this main section, you just need to double click it. So if I wanted to change this image, I'll double click the image and I'm now in editing mode for the image. I can change it, I can edit it, and I can just delete it by using this little garbage can here. So I select it using one click and I can delete it if I don't want it. I won't get into the structure of a section. We have plenty of videos on that. I just wanted to show you sort of how it works. You just input some information and then you're able to edit it very easily using double click. If you want to use artificial intelligence to edit the text, You can select the text resource using a single click. And on the right-hand side, on the properties side, you can find AI Enhancer. And this is where you can ask ChatGPT-4 to rephrase a bit of text, or you can ask it a different question and it will generate text in the same way that the tool works on the main platform. So it's basically just a way just to make it easier for you, first of all, to give you access to ChatGPT-4 to the premium version, but also to make it easier for you to integrate the text straight away. So let's say this is my final project. I'm happy with the way it looks. I've changed all the images. I've deleted what I don't need. Maybe I've added other things to the project. And again, you can check back on the videos that you can find on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel to see how you can add content as well. But we already know how to edit. We already know how to change things, how to use artificial intelligence. Let's say everything here is the way I want the project to look. And so what do I do now? How do I share it with my students? Because sending this link to my students is not enough. It won't, unless they have premium accounts, they won't be able to see my project. So it's not the link up here. We need to generate another link or to export the lesson in a different way. Now, before we do that, or in order to do that, we need to go back into the main area of the project. And in order to do that, we will always click the title of the project. I don't know if you've noticed, maybe because I was moving a little bit fast, but every time you are somewhere on a page, maybe or on a certain resource, maybe we're editing an image like we did, the platform always tells you exactly where you are. And in order to return, let's say, to the section, you just click the title of the section. In order to return to the properties of the project, we will click the title of the project. Very easy. So here we can access even more things. So we can access the assistants, we can access the table of contents, preferences. All of these are topics that I've previously covered in previous editions of the webinar. But if you have any specific questions about any of these, feel free to ask us. What we haven't talked about is the metadata and the export feature. So let's start with the metadata, because that's sort of the last thing we need to cover before we export the project. What that is, essentially, is the information that will be displayed in any type of learning management system, or in our case, in the LIVRESQ library, before the lesson is open. So it's kind of like a description, but it's also information that can help students or users find your lesson. Like a cover, if you will, of your lesson that provides sort of some information, important information about the title of the lesson, the content, and any other information. So in order to edit this data, we just need to click on metadata here, and then we can add an image by using the button add image, and we can either upload an image from our computer or a stock photo, and this image refers to the little thumbnail or the cover of our lesson. I'll just quickly select any stock photo. Again, if you need to know, if you have further questions on how to use this tool, or if you want to see how to use stock photos more in depth, we have a previous video. I'll just use a medium image. Again, I've just added, I used the change image button, I used a stock photo feature, and I added an image that is the cover of my lesson now. Then I can add an author. I'll just write LIVRESQ here, but you can write your own name. If there are multiple authors, you can keep adding authors and writing their name, and basically add all the contributors to the lesson to this metadata page. If you've added, for instance, a field like the author field that I don't need, if you move your cursor over this field, then you'll always have the option to remove that field. Now, we also have the opportunity to add other information. We can add keywords, and this in itself is a field. You can give it a name. a title. I'll delete this one that is automatically added. So what I did was added the field for keywords. You can add the title. We've really made it a point to give the authors the possibility to do this because maybe you want to call them something else, or maybe you want to add different types of information in other types of fields. Here we'll just say keywords. The solar system is one keyword. Then maybe other things like learning, geography. If you have a certain age group or a level, you can add that. Basically using the plus button and adding as many keywords as you want. And the keywords' main role is to help students, to help users find the lesson more easily in the library. You can also add a text field that you can name whatever you want, for instance, description. And you can write a full description of your lesson below, or you can add any other type of information that you may need. The table of contents is automatically added from the table of contents that you've previously created from your lesson. So for instance, but you do have the opportunity to name it, because again, maybe you want it to be called contents, or maybe you want it to be called table of contents, or I don't know, general content, or any other name. But it is automatically added from the table of contents that was generated in the lesson. And a really cool thing is that you can add attachments. So maybe if you want to send your students a test, they can just download it from this page. They won't need to enter to open the lesson. Maybe it's just like a quick review of something, or a test, or any other type of file. It works with PDF. It actually works with all extensions of files, even applications. If you're teaching coding, you can add them here, give the field a name, and then add the file from your computer, and it will just be featured here, and your students will be able to download it. I'll just write a few words here. I won't add any attachment. You saw me deleting it very quickly, so I can remove it once I've added it. This is the place where you can also select the language of the project very easily, and you have a very wide choice. I would say all languages, but I'm still waiting for somebody to prove me wrong. It has not happened yet. And after you've completed this information, after your project is done, you have the table of contents, the preferences. It basically looks the way you want it to look. You've used the icon, and you've gone through your entire lesson. You can see the statistics, which basically tells you how many sections and how many resources you've used in your project. This is important if you're featuring your project in certain other materials. It's really important statistics, because LIVRESQ also allows you to create ebooks or e-manuals if you need them. And this is really important for publishing purposes. And then the last step is to export your project. And we offer three options. The first one allows you to download your project as an HTML archive, a SCORM compliant HTML archive. And this allows you to integrate your lesson into almost any learning or all SCORM compliant learning management systems. Even when we talked about preferences, the general preferences of the project 2 weeks ago, we saw that there were some properties that have to do with how the lesson communicates with an LMS system, and all of this information is going to be integrated into this archive that you can download, and it doesn't matter what type of account you have. The export options are available in the same way for free and for premium accounts as well. So you can download the SCORM package if you want to integrate your lesson into an LMS, into Moodle or any other SCORM compliant LMS. You can also, and I'm going to skip the second one because that takes longer to explain, but you can also download the plain HTML package in order to use it to self-publish if you want to publish the lesson on your website, for instance, or if you want to use it offline. So what this does is download an HTML archive, not SCORM compliant, just simple like a website. You can extract those files, and then you can run it on any browser. So it's exactly the HTML package. If you haven't added any resources that need the internet in order to work, for instance, if you haven't embedded anything, any other interactive resources or YouTube videos, then you'll be able to use this package without internet, so you won't need to be connected. But of course, if you've embedded anything that connects to the internet, then you will need internet access. But for all intents and purposes, this is a full HTML package of your lesson. And the third option is to publish to library, because the really amazing thing that we're doing, and I think this is quite cool, is that we offer free hosting, private and public, and I'll explain that in a second, to all of the projects. If you click on Publish to Library, there's this little pop-up that comes up. And here you have the option to share the publication source or not. If you check this option, what it essentially does is that if you decide to make your lesson public, which doesn't happen automatically, by the way, you can keep it for yourself and for your students, so you can keep the link private. But if you decide to make it public, then this allows other creators to use your lesson as a template and to modify certain things about it. Of course, it will always show that the original lesson that they modified was your lesson, so you don't need to worry about that. But essentially, you are able to share sort of your lesson, and they can use it as a template they can edit. I'm going to check this, and then I'll click confirm. And then basically we're just waiting for the platform to export, to publish our lesson. It doesn't take long. What it will do after it publishes is that it will give us the library link. If I click on this link, then I'm directed straight to the metadata page. It shows a lot of information regarding when the lesson was public, the author. It says that the source is included, that it is not public. So I know now that my lesson is not in the public area of the library. I can open the lesson, I can review it, I can bookmark it, or I can copy the link. If I click copy link, then I can send this link to my students or to whoever I want to show the lesson to, and they will be able to log on to this page. Below, you can find all of the information we've entered. We can edit the classification, we can see the history. Here is where you would see if the lesson were to have been using the source of another lesson. So if I had started from the lesson that was previously published by another author, this is where this information would be displayed. I also have the opportunity to edit the classification, which means that I can select the age, I can select the category or the type of material that I've published. This is an interactive lesson. I can select the topic, and here most of them are subjects in Romanian for the moment, but we're working on that. And the grade. And again, this is according to the Romanian school system. I'll just select maybe college, although it's not accurate. And then once I send this link, and I'll actually post it in the Zoom chat if you want to check it out, whoever I send this link to will be able to open the lesson. So if I click on open, we can see the lesson that was generated with the AI. We even have a little avatar here that can guide our progress, and we can interact with the lesson exactly as it has been created. And again, the only people who have access to it are the people you send this link to, the link from your shelf. If you want to publish the lesson, if you want it to appear in the public area of the library, then you can click on the button Request to Publish. What this does is send a request to our team for the publishing of this project, and we check each lesson manually. This is very, very important for us because it's our way to make sure that there is no inappropriate content that will appear in the public area of the library. So we don't check accuracy of information. We don't check anything in terms of the actual information or in terms of the technical creation of the lessons or the technical details, but we do check for inappropriate content, and there are actual people who do this. So you never need to worry when you're exploring the library about finding anything that is not suitable for children, because that is what it's all about. So if you do want to publish the lesson, then you can always click on this link and you will be notified via email once your lesson has been published. And because I follow this link after I've exported the project, it has taken me straight to the LIVRESQ library. And here is the second component, because we've mainly just talked about the author in these series of webinars, but we also have the library. The homepage of the library allows you to already start browsing lessons, and all of these lessons that you see here, most of them in Romanian so far, but there are some in English as well, you are able to access and use. In the same way that you could send the link to your lesson to your students, we can choose any of these lessons that are public, and we can send the link to our students, or we can even use the lesson as is. So for instance, under editor's choices, we have a lesson that we have created, that my colleagues have created, and we can freely use this lesson. You don't need an account. This is very important for us. Students don't need an account in order to access lessons in the public library, because we don't keep any information. We were really careful about that in terms of GDPR. So if you want to show, if you send a link to your students, then you don't need to worry about getting them accounts. It's just like information on the internet. And we don't keep any of their data. So right now it's like I'm going to do in the Zoom chat, I'm going to send the link to this lesson. You can do the same for your students, and they'd be able to open this public lesson by clicking the open button and view the lesson as it is. We have an avatar. I'll close it, but this is generally how it works. And if you're interested, you can look for this lesson and you can view it in the LIVRESQ library. Again, even if you don't have an account. But if you are logged in, you'll also see this area, My Shelf. So far we've covered home, and you saw that this is a curated list of lessons. Under publications, we can search through all of the lessons or projects that were published in the library, all of the public ones. So these are the ones that have been verified for any inappropriate content. And we also have this area called My Shelf. And this is where we'll find the lessons that we've published. And I have quite a few that have been published here, but also we can find lessons that we've bookmarked. And I'll show you in a second how we do that. So these are all lessons I saved that I've seen around the library and I've bookmarked, and I can find them. My Shelf, I need an account to access My Shelf. And I also have lessons created by others or lessons created by me. So if you're looking for a lesson you previously published, it's under your shelf, and you again have the opportunity to edit any terms of classification. You can overwrite it if you want to add another version, but we'll go into overwrite on a different in a different meeting. So basically this is what it looks like: sending the link, publishing. This is what you can find under My Shelf. And to go back under publications, this is where you can access all of the lessons that have been published on our library. I think we have around 6,000. So we're really happy that our community is very active and building lessons. And you can search for these lessons in terms of some criteria. Age again, and that was why the classification and all the information in the metadata was so important, because if you want your lesson to be easily found, it's very important that that information is accurate. You can search for category, topic, language. This is where we'll see if our community has 100% selected the correct language. There are some lessons in Romanian that are miscategorized as English, which of course is perfectly fine. Students also have the opportunity, you may have seen on the metadata page, to rate, or users in general, to rate the lessons. So you can also select or look for lessons with certain ratings. And because I did mention that explanation about the source, you can select in terms of, you can search for lessons in terms of whether the source is included or not. If I click source included here, I selected adults. That's why it was all confusing. Not very many for adults. This means that all of the lessons that are displayed here, I can edit. So how do we do this? Let's select a random one. This one about Thanksgiving, it's in English. Or maybe this one about the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. I can open the lesson to sort of check it out, see what it's about. So this is random. This is just information that a teacher added. And because she was kind enough to also share the source, this means that maybe if I see something that I want to do differently, an image that I want to change, I can click on Edit Source. And if I wait for a little bit, the platform creates a duplicate of this project in the author and allows me to sort of make it my own. I've now entered her main section. It's a lesson in one section again, and I can edit all the information that she has added here. Everything, if I see something, if I want to add maybe something else to it, this is where I can do that. Maybe I want to change this map. I can double click and change. If I want to add content, I can just drag and drop it from the left-hand side and add whatever I want. Maybe I want to change this file. Maybe I want to delete this file. In the same way that we did in the beginning with the AI project, we can do this with a lesson that someone else has kindly shared with us. And then finally, when we're ready, we can export it again to library. I'm actually going to do that quickly. I'll also click Share Publication, pay it forward, sort of. Because now under everything, so I didn't check the metadata page. It should look roughly the same. I haven't even changed the author or added my name to the author list. Even the name is kept. But under history, users will be able to see that I've used the lesson of another teacher and they will be fully credited. So it's basically working together in order to create materials. And according to your needs, you can look for different types of lessons, different types of subjects. But the great thing about it is that you can very easily just edit certain things, or you don't have to start from a blank slate. You can use something that another teacher has started and build on that. And again, to look for public projects, public lessons with the source, you just need to click under publications, source included. And of course, you need to have an account in order to be able to edit that project, in order to see that button. But if you just want to access the lesson, to view it, to use it maybe, then you just need to open the lesson using this link. And again, if you want to do the same thing with your projects, once you've published them in your shelf, you have that button to request publication, which will send the lesson to us. It doesn't usually take very long. Again, we just very quickly check for inappropriate content, and then your lesson will be public and will be discoverable if people search for certain keywords, because I haven't really showed you this, but you can just search for a lesson on a certain topic. I don't know, maybe fake news. I'm kind of cheating because I know for a fact we have lessons on fake news. So I've searched for fake news. This is a keyword that this teacher used, and I now have lessons about fake news. And you can search for everything you want to teach. Maybe someone else has already created a lesson. Maybe they've also shared the source, and you can just edit the project, edit their sort of project, which again makes your work a lot easier. Or you can, if you're building something from scratch that you're really proud of, you can select that tick that a box where you share the source so other people can use your lesson as a sort of a template, because that's how it works. And of course, you'll always be credited at the end of the lesson for being able to do that. It's not work that goes sort of uncredited. It's not stolen work. The platform keeps tabs of that. So this is mainly what I wanted to cover. Please let me know if you have any questions either on Facebook or here on Zoom. Again, if you are watching a recording of this, please leave your questions in the comments either on Facebook or on Zoom. Oh, sorry, or either on Facebook or on YouTube. Again, at the end of editing a project, you can add metadata. And this is useful also for any learning management system, perhaps. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this, because this information, the image, it all depends though on how much of this information will be displayed. It depends on the learning management system you want to integrate the lesson in. You can also look at statistics and then choose how to export the lesson. If you want free hosting, if you don't want to worry about publishing or if you don't have access to an LMS, then we offer free hosting in the library, and you can just send the link of the lesson to your students and they'll be able to look at it very quickly, and they don't need an account in order to see and interact to see the lesson or interact with it. I see that there are no questions. If this is, again, if you find out you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments and we'll get back to you. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight. We are here every 2 weeks, so I can't wait to see you in 2 weeks' time. And I hope you use and enjoy LIVRESQ. Thank you so much.